Most people think their financial situation is about money, about income, about the economy, about opportunity. And because those factors feel external, they feel largely powerless to change their position. But money problems rarely begin with money. They begin with behavior. Now, if you are genuinely struggling to meet your most basic survival needs, your problem is a math problem. But for the vast majority of people, those with a steady income and the time to watch this video, the problem isn't the math, it's the pattern. If you look closely at people who never get ahead financially, you'll notice something consistent. It's not a lack of intelligence, it's not always laziness, it's not even bad luck. It's a pattern of avoidance, especially avoidance of discomfort, risk, and responsibility. Money exposes behavior faster than almost anything else. It doesn't care about your intentions, doesn't care about effort that stays invisible. It responds to value created, decisions made, and speed of execution. This is why two people with similar incomes can end up in completely different financial positions. One moves forward slowly but consistently, and the other stays stuck despite earning more than enough. One of the biggest reasons people never get ahead financially is that they prioritize comfort over leverage. They structure their lives to feel safe in the short term, even if it limits their upside long term. Predictable routines, guaranteed pay, minimal risk, minimal exposure. There's nothing immoral about that, but there is a cost. Comfort caps your earning potential. The second reason is delay. People wait until they feel ready to earn more, invest, negotiate, or take responsibility for their financial decisions. They tell themselves they need more knowledge, more confidence, or more certainty. Meanwhile, inflation, opportunity cost, and time move quietly in the background. In finance, waiting is rarely neutral. It's usually expensive. Another issue is moral confusion around money. Many people unconsciously treat money as something suspicious, as if wanting more of it requires justification. So they sabotage themselves just enough to stay comfortable, but not successful. They say they want freedom, but avoid the behaviors that produce it. They want security, but refuse to develop skills that make them valuable under pressure. Money does not reward good intentions. It rewards usefulness and decisiveness. There's also a widespread misunderstanding about risk. Most people think risk means dramatic failure, but the greater risk is stagnation. Staying in a position that slowly loses value, avoiding learning how money actually works, and letting others make financial decisions on your behalf. That kind of risk is invisible until years have passed. People who get ahead financially tend to share a few traits. They act faster than they feel comfortable with. They accept short-term instability in exchange for long-term control. And they take responsibility for outcomes instead of outsourcing the blame. They also understand a key principle. Money follows value plus speed. Value without speed stays theoretical. And speed without value collapses quickly. You need both. This is why many people stay broke despite working hard. They work, but they don't build leverage. They trade time for money indefinitely without creating skills, systems, or ownership that compound. Hard work is not the same as forward motion. You could run a marathon on a treadmill and end up in this exact same place you started. Forward motion requires building or owning assets that outlast your daily effort. Remember that. Another reason people struggle financially is that they avoid learning the basics. Not because the basics are hard, but because they force self-honesty. Budgeting reveals behavior. Tracking exposes leaks. Understanding cash flow removes excuses. Avoidance feels easier than accountability. But while you're avoiding the numbers, debt is performing reverse compounding, quietly stealing your future earnings before you even receive them. If you want to change your financial trajectory, the first step is not earning more. It's behaving differently, spending with intention, taking responsibility for numbers, and making decisions based on long-term positioning, not short-term relief. This doesn't require hyper extreme tactics. It requires standards, the same standards discussed earlier, yesterday's video, applied to money. You decide what you no longer tolerate financially: chronic debt, zero savings, no growth plan. You draw a line and you enforce it. Then you focus on increasing your earning power, skills, deals, negotiation, ownership. These are learned behaviors, not personality traits. Most people never pursue them seriously because they require exposure and risk. But avoiding risk is itself a decision, and it usually leads to dependence. People who win financially are not obsessed with money. They're obsessed with freedom, leverage, and control over their time. Money is just a scoreboard. And here's the most important thing to understand. No one is coming to fix your finances. Employers won't, the government won't. Not even good advice would do that. Getting ahead financially is possible for more people than believe it, but only if they abandon comfort, delay, and moral confusion. Money doesn't require you to be exceptional. It requires you to be responsible, decisive, and willing to do what most people avoid. And that's why most people never get ahead. Financial adulthood is a choice. So if you're ready to stop hoping and start managing, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.